Hello, everyone. Today's Tuesday, the 14th of November, 11:41 GMT. I'm back on the air. In the midst of the misery and suffering and horror, I've actually moved into a new apartment, and it had time. It took me time to set up and whatnot. But let's get up to speed. It's been about 2 weeks. Things are much better than they were when we last had any updates with each other. The Tel Aviv All Share Index is made an attempt to recover, but it's still quite far down from where it was. This is the total All Share Index. It has, if I can get this to react, it has lost since the beginning now about 10%. So it's a pretty steep loss. The real estate market has recovered somewhat actually considerably. It's only down now about 8%. It was down 15% at one point. Lockheed Martin has given back a little bit, but have no fear for Lockheed Martin. This is the time to be owning it. Crude oil is stabilized thanks to the Saudi efforts and the Iranian, Russian, Chinese, Indian off-balance sheet crude oil shipment market, which is considerable. Gold is pretty much stable, 195. It really didn't. It peaked around 2,000 a couple of times, but nothing too serious. It's back around where it was. That's settled down, indicator of lower risk. And the dollar shekel is completely recovered to its pre-attack levels. Those are all pieces of good news. The U.S. fleet is pretty well distributed, and we've seen some things that we haven't seen before. This we've known. The Mesa Verde, which is an amphibious landing craft, it's like an aircraft carrier for helicopters and Marines. The Mount Whitney, which is a command and control ship, is now in the Eastern Mediterranean. Of course, the Gerald Ford Carrier Strike Group and the Dwight Eisenhower Carrier Strike Group, which is in the Gulf. Also, I mentioned, for whatever it's worth, you don't usually see the posting of the U.S. naval ship Mercy. That's the Navy's floating hospital ship. That's an ominous sign. And in generally, you're seeing a great deal on the radar screen that's not usually posted. So that's certainly of interest. To get down to the what's going on in the battlefront, things are much, much better than when we last spoke. The IDF does not fight in these tunnels at all. In fact, the strategy is to entomb the enemy in their tunnels. They have got various means of securing and destroying access and egress with the attempt of either, entombing the enemy or flushing them out to surrender or fight at least. But from what I understand, all of Gaza, so Shifa Hospital, by the way, which has long been the underground headquarters of the operation in times of war, and over these many, many conflicts in the last 15 years, some of us had always said, well, just mount up a force and go in and take them out of the hospital, kill them, in situ, and it would cost us lives, but that would be, no, and that was never done, and now, of course, we're paying the price for that continued folly. But that's for another time. So that's that episode may be coming to a denouement. And so Gaza is largely surrounded. Gaza, of course, is the main city in the Gaza Strip. It's got about 1 million people. The rest of the population is scattered in these dense suburbs. And just again, for those of you who are confused, these are not refugee camps, okay? They may have been, 75 years ago, but does this look like a refugee camp to you? This looks like Queens, New York to me. It looks like a northern suburb of, London, okay? This is a refugee camp. They call it the camp, but, okay, this hospital, well, I don't want to make this sound like we're talking about Shangri-La here, but I just want to point that out. The IDF is secured humanitarian exit routes, and there's a ceasefire every day from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., and the only time that people are moving out of Gaza anymore are under the protection of IDF patrols, and that's a victory in itself. That means that they're no longer heeding the death threats of Hamas to stay put or be killed. The IDF can avoid that second part of the threat, so they're moving along. The IDF has assisted in the evacuation of some of those babies, And lest you think that there's no hospital care. By the way, I just want to point out another anomaly that sort of annoys me. Every time they interview at these hospitals, and the only time anybody wants, they don't want bandages, they don't want medicine, they don't want equipment, they don't want doctors, they don't want anything else but diesel fuel. You know what I mean? I wonder about that. And also, all these hospitals, wherever they're interviewed, there's lights on. So there's never any, we're running out of power, except there's lights on when the news media comes. I don't know how that works. Could be news media lighting for all I know. I don't want to, impugn anybody unnecessarily. But you got to wonder what all this demand from all these medical people is for only fuel. That's all they seem to need. They haven't had deliveries in a month. They're obviously well stockpiled. Anyway, there's a field hospital in Gaza, a field surgery. The Jordanians and the Israelis are providing field medical assistance. The Saudis are bringing in aid. More aid is coming in. So there's hope for the people who are fleeing south, that they're not, attacked by the Hamas. The northern front is at the moment fairly quiet. I shouldn't say fairly quiet. It's on a low simmer. It's been on the same simmer it's been. Well, I guess let me put it sharper. It's not. It's slowly simmering up, is what it is. Every day there's a few of these anti-tank missile shots lobbed into Israel. They're doing more damage. They're hitting Israeli positions. There have been injuries. There have been civilian casualties and injuries. My thinking is, and this is speculation on my part, I do not know, it's just from what I can piece together, is that as the operation in Gaza winds down, and it comes to, and there is some sort of damage there, that may be the time to take care of the other proxy breathing down our necks, Hezbollah in Lebanon. Most of the reserve forces, by the way, are stationed in the north, not near Gaza. Gaza, as you may guess, is an engineering war. It's just very slow, methodical work. It's not shock and awe. It's just very slow, methodical engineering work. Objective to objective. Avoiding booby trap by avoiding booby trap, and it doesn't take a number of forces. It just takes careful work, and they're well protected. But again, how many? There's not a great force in Gaza at the moment. Most of the reserve forces that were called are on the northern border. That says something to me. Nasrallah is playing coy, so it's not clear whether he's in or is out. But it's hard to know. But my feeling is, and I could be wrong about this, it's therefore entirely speculation, and it won't be the first or last time I'm wrong. I think the Israelis are going to want to draw him in at some point and then remove him too. But that is not going to be an engineering war. That's going to be an air war. Counter missiles, and airstrikes. It's going to be vicious. But they've already started evacuating. The Israelis are guiding the residential population out. They're guiding them north. They're sending them information by radio and by phone to evacuate. The Israelis have evacuated the northern area. It's what it seems to me. I could be wrong, but there's a big evacuation movement moving out of southern Lebanon, and that's that. What's going to happen with the Abraham Federation and the Iran squeeze, it remains to be seen. But the phase of the war we're in now is on the offensive. The casualties are far, far lower than I feared. There's no news of the hostages. The Red Cross is completely inept and doing nothing. All we hear from the UN is that they keep losing contact with their people in Gaza. That's all they ever say. They don't do anything but lose contact with their people. So the Israelis are moving fuel in where they can. They're taking some of the patients that can't move out of Shifa Hospital. They're going to go in and clean out that nest, and that will be bloody, but utterly necessary. So that's about it for now, ladies and gentlemen. It's you, and you have, ladies and gentlemen, friends and loved ones, I should say as well. I don't know why I say ladies and gentlemen, but you also have your work cut out for you. As some of us had discussed many weeks ago, the heat is up in the diaspora. The heat's on. The anti-Semitism is bubbling up from under the streets. So hang on tight. Stay alert. Stay informed. Stay strong and stay in touch, everybody. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye for now.